Hey everyone, welcome to today's Q&A session with Jen. I just combined you guys' names together with Jason, Ben, and me. I want to call her, Jason's now known as J-Bro. There's a whole story behind that one that we'll get into, I have no doubt. But anyway, we're going to start diving in here to our Q&A session for this week. We're going to focus really primarily on local search and Google My Business this week. Got a few other little quick things we may dive in here as well, but feel free to ask your questions. Hey, before we get started, just want to let you know, if you would like to reach out to Ben or Jason, you can reach Ben at steadydemand.com or at thesocialdude on Twitter. For Jason, you can reach him at reviewfraud.org or at Kaiser Holiday. And of course, you can find me at localmarketinginstitute.com. Speaking of which, hey, I'm always going to encourage you guys, if you haven't yet signed up for our email newsletter, just go to our website. It's right there on the homepage. It's where you get the invites to sessions like these. Go sign up for our podcast. Subscribe on any of the major platforms out there. All these sessions wind up going out there. And join our Facebook group, Local Marketing Institute Connect. We've got some of the best market experts in the world out there, including Jen, Jason, and Ben here. And we're going to actually cover one of the questions that was posted in the group just yesterday during today's session. So that's pretty much it for the intro stuff. Jason, Ben, how you guys doing?
Well done, Eric. Well done. Hey, happy Friday.
Yes, hello.
Hey, so Jason, quickly, what's the story behind J-Bro?
I had one of those like weird, funny, jokey moments. I was like, if Jennifer Lopez could be J-Lo, can I just be J-Bro, instead of Jason Brown, just shorten it. So I kind of put that joke out there on Twitter. People said, oh, you need to do it. And then all of a sudden I started getting called J-Bro by, Joy Hawkins and Colin Nielsen. And so a couple other people. And so just kind of having a little fun, why not?
It's sticking, and then it'll go back to dumpster fire eventually.
Yes. It will eventually do that. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. Or I clicked a button and became a PE, my other.
Oh yeah. No, you clicked a button, dude. You became a silver. That's all there is to it. You just clicked a button.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to dive on in. We got a lot of questions to go through today here, a lot of updates. Welcome to everybody who's joining us here live on Zoom. See you watching in the chat there. Hi, everyone. If you have any questions on local marketing, local search optimization, Google My Business, pop them into the Q&A on Zoom. That's going to be the easiest. You can put them in the chat. We'll try to watch it, but it's sometimes hard to see everything that's scrolling by, but we'll try to keep an eye on that. If you're watching us live on Facebook, you can pop them there in the comments. We're monitoring those as well. To get started, though, I think, Ben, I'd like you to go through, we talked about a little bit about the new performance report and some guidelines. It's not exactly new news anymore, but I think there's a lot of people here who don't really know this yet. So maybe you could give us a quick update.
Yeah, no problem.
I can find it here for you.
Yeah. So, and Barry had a good article on that actually that he did for Search Engine Land. But yeah, I mean, as far as this goes, the performance update really is just showing us now kind of a breakdown between the different platforms. So whether you have mobile or whether you have desktop, of course, the queries are there. And for those who don't know how to get to this, the easiest way is to just go to business.google.com, go into your Google My Business profile, and then click on Insights, which will be on the left-hand side. And hold on, we're getting there.
I'll just go to one here.
Just go grab something. Yeah.
Go to Insights.
Click on Insights, and then in the upper right-hand corner, you see where it says See New Performance Profile. So the important thing to understand here is Insights is off. Insights has always been off by around 40 to 60% usually. There's a lot of different.
You mean, right?
Yes, correct. It's because of how GMB is tallying like views and other types of things. So with the new performance reports, now things are going to be more calculated on a real-time basis as well as a unique basis per 24 hours. So you can only, Eric, for instance, cause one view in 24 hours, one call, one act of doing messages, etc. So everything's based on the unique. So it's going to be a lot more accurate. For some, it's going to be very jarring because if they've only been doing insights and now they see just the performance reports, they're going to be like, why are my numbers going down? Well, your numbers aren't going down. They're actually just more accurate.
Got it.
And speaking of accurate, I mean, the queries are there, of course, but those are as accurate as you get for data, by the way. Those come directly from the log files.
So is the accuracy more that it's deduping people versus what you're seeing in the normal GMB insights where it's not deduping individuals, or is it just the GMB insights in general has just been off?
It's the prior, so it's the deduping, basically. It's uniques.
Well,
Gotcha.
Deduping, and there was a lot of bad data that was being brought in. So like impressions. So like as you were zooming in and out of the map, that would trigger an impression in view. Same with, Google Posts, looking at one Google post on a knowledge panel wouldn't count, but as soon as you click on to posts and you scroll a little bit, then those all get more impressions. Joy Hawkins has a good one, and I just linked to it today on the Google My Business Community Forum. Google My Business Insight data that you really need to be paying attention to. So she did a really great comprehensive breakdown for anybody else that wants that, know. Yesterday, I was talking to people and they wanted to know, why do I have a photo that I just uploaded and it's already got 20,000 views? Well, that's because, there's a lot of improprieties and bad data coming into photos. And you can create a Google My Business listing, right now, and already it was showing, that you had, over 200 views on it when you had just created it within a minute. So yeah. Bad data, great. Google.
So the nutshell here is that, when we used to go visit Google at Mountain View for our product expert summits, this is one of the things that we as PEs brought up. And that is, look, if you want this to be, if you want merchants to actually use this data and make it actionable, it has to be accurate.
Makes sense. So awesome. I mean, so this isn't necessarily new, but I think a lot of people still don't understand the performance reports and what the difference is between the insights in this. So I really appreciate you guys going over that here real quickly. All right. I saw lots of questions coming in, guys. We are monitoring them. We will try to get to as many of them as we possibly can. We have a few in the queue already. Speaking of which, Jason, do you have an update on kind of the privacy issues on Street View for service area businesses and what's going on there?
So it's been escalated to Google. So they are looking into it. Several people did weigh in. Barry did mention it, but no, we don't have an update on it right now. It primarily is only being seen by Android users right now. So, if you look at it, if you're using the Android app, you're looking at, the business listing, all of a sudden Street View shows up, you go to suggest an edit to remove it, and then all of a sudden it shows the actual physical address for the business. So the engineering team's looking into it, but I mean, it's not a high priority. I know, some people, Tricia and Amy Toman think that it's a major privacy issue, but it's not that big of a privacy issue in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, it is being looked into.
Okay, and like you said, it's primarily where service area businesses, if you're looking at Street View, you can see the address or you can see the Street View, and it's only really happening in the Android app right now. So it's not like a huge widespread issue. Right. Gotcha. All right. We had a quick question regarding the insights, Ben. Do you think Google will get rid of the old insights reports once the performance reports get a little more widespread use?
Yeah. So I believe the answer to this is that insights, I guess there's two ways to answer this. The data is going to change as far as what you're going to see in the performance reports versus what's in the insights report. That's going to change. Will they keep insights around for a while? I think they're going to do like they do almost everything else. They're just going to kind of phase it out over a 6 month to 1 year period. That's just my guess. And they'll probably give more than enough warning. What I would actually keep an eye out for is API documentation. So once they start putting out API access to this new set of data, that's when insights actually might start to go away and turn into this different type of report. But give it about a year or two, I'd say.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay. Anon Google question. Hey, how has the new Facebook iOS 14 change affected ads for local businesses? I'm pretty sure I know what you guys are talking about. Let me bring up something here real quick. I'll tackle this one. So I actually wrote this for media organizations, but I think there's some applicable stuff here we could talk about for local businesses. If you don't know what's going on, bottom line, Facebook and Apple are, kind of at each other here a little bit. Apple just made some changes in the new iOS 14, so iPhones, iPads, things like that. Privacy, privacy is what they're going out of the auspices of. The more cynical people are saying, no, they're blocking everybody else out from this data because they want to launch their own ad network soon. Who knows? Anyway, Apple's basically saying to Facebook, hey, you're going to start seeing this little warning here where basically Facebook, you'll have to give Facebook permission to track your activity across other apps and websites. All right, sounds like a good thing, but what does this mean? What this means is that as a local business, if you're using Facebook ads, there's going to be a few changes in the way Facebook ads work that you kind of need to be aware of if you want to continue to use Facebook ads. So I'm not going to talk about publishers, but I'll talk about for local businesses. First thing that I want to throw out is that for most local businesses, when I've looked at the analytics, I actually see iOS devices could be, actually a third to a half of their total traffic. I've seen it be that high in some places. So it's a significant issue, but doesn't affect the whole audience. Biggest thing is if you're running Facebook ads, you're using something called the audience network. That's where a Facebook ad could show up on some other website or some other app. It's not going to be as effective. By the way, I usually am not a big fan of the audience network anyway. We could talk to, maybe I'll bring this up with Nava Hopkins another time. But it's rife with click fraud and impression fraud. I usually just run ads only on Facebook or Instagram anyway. If you're doing any conversion tracking, right? So if you're trying to track an ad to a sign up for an email newsletter or an ad for something else, not just landing on your website, but an actual conversion event, that will be impacted. You're now going to be limited to a maximum of 8 conversion events. Facebook's going deep into this thing. And the thing you're going to need to do, here's the biggest thing that you're going to need to do. If you are running Facebook ads, you or your agency, you want them to set up a Facebook Business Manager account for you. I don't want to go too deep into this because this is a whole can of worms we're opening up on what Facebook Business Manager is. But talking about that, you should have a Facebook Business Manager account, and in that should be your page and your ad account, and you should be the admin on it. By the way, your agency should just be a manager. In that Facebook Business Manager account, you then need to verify your website domain to prove to Facebook you own that site and it's your site. And then you need to associate that domain with your Facebook page. You can do all this within Facebook Business Manager, but bottom line, that's really what you want to do if you want to continue to run Facebook ads that have a conversion event, a website conversion event. If you're not doing that, this change isn't going to impact you a whole lot, other than the effectiveness of things like the audience network. But take that in mind. Work with your ad agency or your technical team to do that. It's a good time to get a Facebook Business Manager account set up. This is if you're running Facebook ads and you're running them on a regular basis. If you're not running Facebook, Instagram ads, blow this off. Don't worry about it. So I hope that helps a little bit. Let's see here. Any follow-up questions on that? No, got those. Okay, good. So, Ben, here might be a good one for you. Let's see here. Paul says, a local service area business I'm working with has one additional location in a nearby town with its own GMB listing under the main company listing. The locations manager wants to buy that as a franchise. So in other words, I think they're wanting to buy a location and update it to be in their business. So can they buy, he wants to buy that location. Can they take the existing GMB listing and and basically take it over and kind of, I guess, rebrand it and be changed to reflect this?
The short answer
do they have to close it and just open up a new one?
Yeah. So the short answer is if the experience is not changing, then they can just go ahead and take it over and basically change the name, change the URL, change the phone number, and shouldn't be a problem whatsoever.
Okay. So short answer, if it's not changing. Now, what if they're actually changing the name of the business? What if it was business A and business B bought it and they're going to kind of rebrand it as a new location for business B?
Yeah, you could totally do it. Of course, the only problem that you're going to face there is, kind of a problem, is that the reviews might say, XYZ, plumbing company, right? And now the new company name might be a little bit different. So it's kind of a judgment call, but in most cases, a business is just going to rechange the name of it and change the other, basically core attributes. But there's kind of no reason to permanently close it, really, especially if the experience has not changed.
Well, but what you can do is you can contact Google My Business support and show them that change of ownership, and then they can go ahead and wipe out those old reviews since they are no longer affiliated with that same business.
That's a perfect point, Jason.
Yep. And that kind of addresses a little concern that Michelle threw up in the chat, that be careful you don't trigger a suspension when doing this.
Well, that's going to sorry, you still have a chance of suspension all the time.
Yeah. So, Michelle, and I see you say there that you had a problem where she actually experienced that, and the account was suspended and they were never able to reclaim the listing. So if that does happen, if you do change it, there is a way that you can undo the suspension and get the listing back. And if you ever have any questions about that, just reach out to Ben or Jason. They can help you with that.
I was going to say, I'll just say this, put this out there real quick. First of all, there is almost never a situation where a suspension cannot be reversed. And I say almost. So it's about 98% of the time has been my experience. You can always get something reinstated if it's legitimate.
Makes sense. Paul is the guy who actually asked this question. He's clarifying here. Why wouldn't a new listing be created? It's a new business, so a new listing. Well, Paul, if it is a new business, then close the old one and open up a new listing. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, as long as everything's different.
Yeah, and there's so many specific questions. So if you got some more specific questions on that, you might want to post that out in our Facebook group. We could take a look at that a little bit separately, or just contact Ben and J Bro independently on that. So another quick question here. This might be a good one for you, JB. This actually is an interesting one. I'm going to bring this up. It was a post to our Facebook group. So let me bring that up real quick here. And here it is. So Kim posted this yesterday, and I thought it was an interesting one. Bottom line, looks like she oversees a pharmacy and vitamin supplement store. Looks like it's up in Maine, I think. But anyway, in Portland, Maine, within the store, the actual pharmacy department has different hours. And so what she's trying to figure out is to say they've had a lot of clients who have come in and have said are during the hours when the store's open, but the pharmacy's closed, and they're upset about that. The fact that, hey, Google said you were open. So it looks like what she's trying to do here is she tried to create a second listing here just for the pharmacy within the overall store with different hours, but it's not showing up when zoomed out. And obviously it's not showing because, again, all those good ranking factors aren't showing up there, and it's kind of being absorbed into the filtered out view of this. What's your advice here? What should she need to do? How do you set this up as a department within a store?
Sure. Yeah. So so this would more than likely she would need to reach out to the Google My Business support to get this set up. And get the name of the business in compliance with the terms of service. Google will be able to help associate it as a department like we get with dealerships, right? Yeah, in various department stores. So it can be done. She's basically just going to have to show that there's separate staff that works it. So it basically be the equivalent of doing a save on inside an Albertsons store. So yeah, they would be able to qualify for a second one. Once Google gives them the green light of how to set it up and move forward with that listing, might want to reach out to Crystal Tang, another Google My Business product expert. She's really good with chains and departments and stuff like that. Once you get the name situated, then I would do a second set of citations, but hopefully Google will be able to add it as to the main listing as a department inside. And then that will hopefully start working and helping. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of confusion about people getting the main listing and not realizing that there's separate staff and a separate entity for the pharmacy as well.
There you go. There's your answer for that one. Ben, here's a great little quick question for you here. Do you get email notifications with GMB messaging?
The answer to that is no.
No email
yes, you don't get any notifications. You don't get any desktop push notifications. You do get mobile push.
So in other words, use the Google My Business app, enable notifications, and you would get notifications that way.
Exactly. And if you have over 99 listings in your account, sorry, not going to work very well for you.
So bottom line, no email notifications for GMB messages, but you can get them for most businesses who have less than 100 locations. You can get them in the GMB app on iOS or Android, right?
Yeah. And if you think about it, I mean, there's good reason. So reviews get emails, change of hours get emails, posts get emails. I mean, there's a deluge of email notifications that come in. So with messaging, they decided to not push those out by email. And that is really to save everybody's inbox. That being said, if anybody does feel that their clients or they would benefit from getting email notifications, drop me a line, or drop any of us product experts a line and say, yes, we'd love this, and go to the community and open up a thread and have other people chime in. And if GMB sees it's important, they might do it.
I'll vote for email notifications. I mean, it's nice to have these apps, but there's so many different things. Sometimes it's nice to be able to have an extra notice by email on that. Jason absolutely said that GMB messaging is a pain for multi-location businesses. Yes, it is.
It is.
All right. Another really good question. Oh, Jason, this one's for you, my friend. What is Google Map Stacking? I've heard of this. What is it, and does it work? Oh, you're going to love this one, I'm sure.
Yes.
Should I bring up an example?
Yes. Let's do the example because everybody's talking about it.
Let me see here. I think I found this a little earlier. Where is it? Here we go. Here's an example of Google Map Stacking, and I'll even blow up the image here so you can get an example of what it is. So, what is this? Why do it? And does it work?
Okay, I'm going to go with the last part of it. No, it does not work. It is a complete waste of time. Does it look pretty? Is it something you can show people? Hey, look what I did. Daddy, watch me twirl. Daddy, watch me twirl. But no, it does absolutely nothing for SEO rankings. And so I'm going to point out that this business that's being used as an example is called Nurse Next Door _Dallas. That's the big key factor for ranking. And so when people do this crap, and it is crap, it's just complete rubbish, they're doing various other things to help propel that business from ranking. And one of the things that people normally do is they add keywords and geo modifiers into their business name. They get a bunch of reviews associated with the business with the keywords and the geo modifiers in the reviews. They send a bunch of links. They do a bunch of citations. They do all these crazy things. And then they just sit there and they say, well, look at what we did. And now we're ranking. But they discount and discredit everything else that they've done to help change and propel the ranking. So please stop doing this. I actually know a lot of black hat SEO people that actually have come out publicly and said that this is ridiculous. It's a waste of time. And it is. I don't know how long it takes to actually create this. I mean, yeah, if you want to buy it off of Fiverr, let somebody else do it for $5. I mean, look, if this thing was really, truly valuable, they would not be selling this instant ranking formula for, tool for $5.
Got it.
Yeah, this is one of the most ridiculous myths that needs to just have a stake put in it. That's all I can say. It's right up there with geotagging. It's right up there with EXIF data. It's ridiculous. It's a waste of time. And like Jason's saying, it's like pretty much this is snake oil, right? They're putting this together. Somebody's doing this for $5. They sell it to somebody else. They sell it to somebody else. And they say, yeah, this works. And here's why. And they come up with all this fancy, unique lingo for it. But really, at the end of the day, they're selling you nothing. It's air.
Yeah, bottom line, this is another one of those tactics that a lot of folks will claim absolutely works, but actually what's working is they're spamming the maps and doing all kinds of stuff. Matter of fact, you want proof of that? Here you go. Here's Nurse Next Door Home Care Services in Thornton. This is not even an actual business. This is actually an online lead gen thing. And interestingly, that's a real interesting service area.
Yeah, they might not be around by end of next week. By the way.
You know what? So these guys have a big target on their back right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if, through the efforts of a couple of very unique individuals, that a lot of this may be gone within a week or two here. So, bottom line, don't do map stacking. It's just another one of those things that snake oil salesmen are going to sell you. Just take the things, do the right things you need to do to optimize your GMB listing.
I will say one thing about map stacking, and that's this. Okay. First of all, not good for SEO, but might be useful to a user, maybe. And some guy, he was a snake oil guy, but he was in the clubhouse last night, and he was bringing this up. And he brought up an example that was actually valid, and that was for a bike store. And what they did was they plotted out some really great biking paths, and they had, of course, the bike store right in the middle. So that was useful to users, and I guess it got like 1,000 views or something like that in the first couple of days. So if it's useful to a user, that's a different story, I think.
All right, sounds like a plan. This is an interesting one. Well, I think I got those out. One here is, hey, do I need a privacy policy on my website, or is that only for big sites? So I'll tackle this one real quick here. I'm going to speak for the US because there are different requirements in different places. In general, it is a wise idea to have a privacy policy on your website, even if you are a small local business. Let's see, do I have an example of this? I think I actually may. For you.com. Let's see here. We just worked on a plumbing site out here, and yeah. Let me bring this up real quick. Show this real quick. Desktop 2. There we go. So this is a plumber website in Milwaukee, and down here at the bottom, you'll see privacy policy. Okay, so why? Privacy issues are becoming bigger and bigger with governments. Obviously, I won't talk about European Union has their GDPR regulations. California just recently passed the California, the CCPA, Consumer Protection Act. You're going to see more and more of this coming to a governmental location near you. It wouldn't surprise me if in the next year or two, we actually see this happen at the federal level in the United States as well, where privacy issues are going to be a bigger and bigger issues. So in addition, it's just good to have one because of governmental regulations coming down. Number two, though, if you're running certain kinds of ads, whether it's Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn, other kinds of programmatic ads, certain kinds of ads will require you to have a privacy policy. Lead ads in particular on Facebook and LinkedIn require you to have a privacy policy. So it's a good idea to have one. They're a pain in the butt to set up, but let me show you this one here. So this is one we set up, and I'll show you my little inside trick on this. I don't get jack squat out of this. I'm just sharing this because I want to share it with you. There's a great little tool out there called Ayubenda. Ayubenda is a fantastic tool for creating privacy policies. So I'll actually show you real quickly here, and then I'll let you guys go from here. This costs, for most local businesses, this would cost $29 a year to do and set up. And let me log in here to, where's the Mike and Grilly one? I'll just log in here with this. And I'll show you real quickly what this looks like. So I go to the dashboard. and I'm going to go through the whole thing. This is just a great way to set up a quick one. Again, I am not a legal expert. Here's my, for everybody out there in legal marketing, here's my disclaimer. Consult your own legal counsel. But for most businesses, this will do just fine. We literally just set this up, and when you pay the $29, you can then edit this policy, and you literally just go through and you can work with your developer, and you just check off, here's all the things that we use on our site. Like they use Amazon Web Services, they have a contact form, they use Facebook remarketing, Google Analytics. You do that, and it automatically generates this. And the nice thing is it keeps staying updated all the time. There's also a wonderful thing. There's a complete privacy policy, and it even generates a cookie policy out of it as well. So something really cool to do. I highly recommend every local business have a privacy policy, and you need to have one if you're running certain kinds of ads that are out there. So hopefully that helps a little bit on that front. Trisha says she used Iabenda and likes it as well. So nice. So I'm a big fan of that out there. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Anything else you guys want to add to that?
No, I think you covered it, man.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Those are the preset questions. I want to start getting into some of the questions people are asking live, because we got tons of questions coming through, and I want to get to as many of them as we can. Beatrice asks, I already have a Google My Business listing, but want to add another location. What's the best way to do that? I'm the only person that handles the account. I opened our GMB using a free Gmail account, not my domain name email address.
Sure. So real easy. All you got to do is scroll down to the bottom on the left-hand side, and you will see where it says businesses. And once you click on businesses, it will take you to the main screen, and it'll kick you out of being inside that listing and into the area where you can actually add more listings. So you can do a bulk upload or add a single location. And yeah, we've raised this issue because a lot of people are struggling to figure out, how do I create an additional listing when I already have one and it's taking me directly into my listing? So yeah, that is a pain point, and hopefully Google will come up with a way that they can streamline it and fix it.
It's great. On Facebook, David is asking, apart from a Google My Business post that you mentioned earlier, Ben, how are you driving traffic to the GMB listing?
Say what?
I think David's wanting to know how to drive traffic to a Google My Business listing. And I think, let me take a first shot at this one, Ben, because I want to get your thoughts. David, I really don't try to drive traffic to a Google My Business listing, right? My whole deal is I think the idea is you're trying to do as much as you can on your Google My Business listing to properly optimize it, to add the photos, to add listings so that it attracts the right kinds of search traffic to it. I never do ads or emails or Facebook posts pointing people to my Google My Business listing. At least that's my approach to things. But Ben, Jason, interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, actually, if you because I've worked with multi-location. So yes, when you are doing, email blasts to your clients, talking about a special or a deal, then yes, and that's going to trigger a lot more people to do direct searches, explicit searches for your business. And then yes, and that's going to drive more eyeballs in traffic to your GMB listing. But yeah, trying to set up paid ads for that, no, that's not going to work. But if you do if you do set up your listing with paid ads, adding the tracking number, location extension, right? That's what I wanted. If you add that, then yes, and your GMB is going to be showing up a lot more in your local pack, as long as your ad budget is running correctly. And then yes, you will be generating more visibility for your GMB.
Yeah, well, I will say this is that, so service companies have this down pat. And that is, they've got vehicles that are out in their service areas with the name of their business. Now, they're not explicitly telling people to search for their business, but it's happening, right? You see it, you have a need, whether it be for like an air conditioning service or whatever, and you see a George Brazil truck, you're going to type in George Brazil near me, maybe, right?
Yep.
And you might want to check them out. So that's good, because that actually sends kind of an intent signal to Google as well. So it is driving traffic in a sense to your GMB listing. And I've also heard some really good lawyers out there, by the way. And yes, I said really good lawyers that in their radio ads, they will mention Google us. And they will actually specifically state that. So again, that's another way of kind of bringing offline to your online presence and giving Google more of a signal about your relevancy.
Yeah, and I think, one of the other just simple things that I've also seen some businesses do. Let's go back to that Mike and Grilly site here. He's linking to his Google My Business listing here and in the footer of every page. So he's just kind of connecting his website to his Google My Business listing, not necessarily driving traffic per se, but connecting it. Ben, though, I think this brings up a good question because I'm going to jump down here because it's related. Megan asked a quick question, said, hey, so is there a benefit to building links or driving traffic to a Google My Business listing? Because, again, I think the whole thing is people are trying to say, I've heard this out here as well. Hey, the more traffic you drive to your Google My Business listing, the more links you get to our Google My Business listing, the higher it's going to rank.
No, I mean, the fact is that you should never be driving links to another platform, basically. It's like if you're going to drive links, you drive it to your website, you drive it to something that you own. However, you would never link to your GMB listing at all. I mean, unless you're doing it from like your site, but really that's about it. It's not going to give you any ranking benefit, put it that way.
Well, actually, yes, it does, but it's not sustainable. And so Joy Hawkins did a whole study on the effectiveness of sending links to your GMB. But I mean, if you're going to be sitting there doing, a lot of link building, then it would behoove you to send those links and traffic to your website property and not just the GMB where you could potentially lose them.
Exactly. Tricia 100% agrees with you on that one, Jay.
Yeah. A short time boost is just not worth it.
Yeah. Bottom line, if you're going to spend time, money, and effort trying to build links and drive traffic, do it to your own website. That's going to have the best benefit for you in the long run. Okay, let's tackle a couple other questions here. Let's see here. Should multi-location businesses stop paying for local listing, directory submissions, and citation management once they're current and cleaned up via a one-time event? Or is there a need to keep paying year over year over year? Good question.
Depends.
Yeah.
When I was running, the local SEO for 4 nationwide franchises, it was in our best interest to have, Yext set up and constantly, monitoring their listings. Now, we were also leveraging review monitoring because once you have over 100 listings in your Google My Business dashboard, you don't get email alerts every time you get a new review. So we actually turned that into a positive and started selling review monitoring and management services. But yeah, I mean, when we're dealing with locations that are constantly updating their hours based on seasonality or Mother Nature, and we need to go in and close down all of the North Carolina locations because they're getting hit with another hurricane, well, it was easy enough for us to just go in there and do a one-shot approach where we can actually update hours. Also, we would push out a bunch of new photos and videos and update, banner images on Facebook. So there are some advantages to it. But for most people, you just need to get one set of citations, set up. And once it's clean, then it's done and you can skip the Yext. But it's going to come down to what do you need from a citation management service and how is your business going to benefit from having another service helping you?
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
There's not too much to add to that. I mean, it is very situational, right? Yeah. But if you're asking, should I go out and get tons of citations and maintain those? You probably can spend your money and time in better places, but multi-location, if you've got 10 plus locations and it's a little bit of a pain to handle, go for it.
Yep. I tend to agree with you on that. Here's a great one. Ben, what's going on with your haircut? And your background, new midlife crisis.
So my haircut hasn't changed. It might be the blur.
It's the blur effect
that Zoom is doing. As far as background goes, I am in the middle of redecorating and redoing my studio office. And yes, the people have been asking me where my swords went. Basically, the rack that my swords was holding my swords decided to break. And so therefore they are propped up in the corner. At least a couple of them are. So
anyway. Go back to blur. Yes, blur.
Right to the blur. There you go. No, I like it. I think it looks kind of cool. We'll get on there. What I really like and what I'm really going to hit you up for is that steady demand. Cool shirt.
Ta-da.
Love that. That's awesome.
Yes.
Great question coming in from Nate. Kind of a random question not too long ago, but what are your thoughts about using a Google My Business post as a job listing? I.e. a Google My Business post says, we have a job opening for dishwasher, or in the case of Jason, review spam fighter.
Yeah. I can't see any reason why not.
Gotcha. I mean, you can use posts for anything you want. The question is just going to come down to, are you going to get visibility from it? Are you going to get traction? So if it's always worth a try. I mean, everything is, we're marketers, right? So we test everything. So yeah.
Bottom line is it doesn't hurt.
Track it.
Yeah. Wouldn't hurt anything.
And hey, Nate, how's it going?
Hi, Nate. How's it going, man? Okay, let's see here. I tried to set up a few Google My Business accounts for an online business, but I read somewhere we couldn't do that. Is that true?
Correct.
Don't do it.
I mean, you could try, but it doesn't really help you. Google My Business is for people who do business face-to-face with their customers, either at their storefront or at the customer's location. So it's not designed for e-commerce or online businesses.
Unless you're Go, Ben.
I was going to say this. There is one exception, and that is if you want to use your GMB profile. Okay, maybe two exceptions. But if you want to use your GMB profile for like reviews and getting people to your office or promotions or whatever the case may be, you can set up a corporate office if you have a distinct legal entity for this. It's not going to show up
at that address.
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. So you can do that. That is within the guidelines. You can have one listing. You're not going to do any business locally from it, but you can use it for like collecting reviews and doing Q&A and the product posts and things like that.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
SEO or web design are okay to have as online only businesses because the majority of the leads that we are getting are coming, we're interacting with them over the phone or via email or video chat. So it's, that one is allowed. Ben's dancing. I like how Ben's dancing. It's like,
Local Marketing Institute. We have a GMB listing from Local Marketing Institute. We're a service area business. Now, what are we doing? Now, we have people coming all over the world who come to our webinars and do things like that. But we're also doing things where we're helping out people here in the local area with some other stuff. So
that's the key part.
In that case, we've got a legit reason for a GMB. If we were, I work with a lot of publications though, like for instance, Milwaukee Biz Times. They're a publication who services, but they have a GMB listing for their location there in Milwaukee. Again, they're a regional business pub. They have an office and they can meet with people there. So it's legit.
Yeah, this is one of those things where you got to remind everybody, and I think people don't look at this, and that is the guidelines are suggestions. Okay, they're guidelines. They are open to interpretation. They're not strict. So when you look at like a web design or an SEO company, in that aspect, that's absolutely correct. However, if the business model appears to be online only, then it is against the guidelines. And that's a very key word there is appears, by the way.
Yeah. Except for the no SABs at co-working spaces. That is not a suggestion. That is fact.
That is complete. And same thing with virtual offices and keyword stuffing and address spoofing and lead gen. Yeah.
All the good jazz out there, right?
Those are not suggestions whatsoever.
Those are absolutely not suggestions. Okay, good question here coming up from Nate again.
Trisha had a follow-up. Yeah, Trisha had a follow-up. The exception Ben gave must be a regular office and not home office. That is actually incorrect. It can be a home office.
Local Marketing Institute, another great example. I'm here in my wonderful home office, but we have a service area business with that. So there's a perfect example right there. Nate's asking, is there any advantage to using local business schema on a local business website for rankings and or traffic.
Always.
And if you want to just, again, I'll go back to this Mike and Grilly site again. And I'm pointing this out because literally I just helped them relaunch this site. If you go out there and look at it here, let me share my screen.
And you're not trying to drive traffic, right, Eric?
Pardon?
So you're not just trying to drive traffic to it, are you?
Oh, well, there's a lot of reasons why we're using the schema data, but it's like, hey, you pull out all the things out there. Bottom line, we encoded this with local business schema data. This is a WordPress site, so we use the Yoast local SEO plugin. You don't have to do that. But there you go. I just ran a test on this site in Google's rich results testing tool. We'll put that link when we archive this video there. But you can see right there is a local business entity defined on this website. This basically tells Google or Bing, hey, this is what this web page is about. It's not just a web page. This is actually a web page that is a plumber, whose name is this, that has connected with this Facebook page, this LinkedIn page, et cetera. So that's what it is. I guess the big question, Ben and Jason, to answer Nate's question is, does this help you with any kind of SEO or traffic to your site?
Anyway, anytime that you can provide Google with a little bit more data that they're going to actually ingest, the better. Google's going to cross-reference the information with multiple locations. Look at the same as, right? So same as is going to be used as a trusted quote unquote authority website, except for maybe Facebook, but they're going to correlate the information between the website and the local business schema, et cetera. Might take a look at, other sites that are trusted too and verify that information. And once it's been verified, then of course, then you get a bonus.
And just to clarify, Jason, because you put in the track selfless promotion, I don't do local business website redesigns, so don't reach out to me for that. I did that because it was a good friend of mine that I've known. I was helping them out. So
I'm just pulling Eric's leg because somebody else had stuff there too. So look, here's the thing. Eric, Ben, and I are really great friends, so we will always mess with each other. And
that's okay, man.
We have to mess with each other. Come on. That's why I was saying, come on, Eric, you're trying to you drive traffic right now.
So everybody go out to Mike and Grilly's website, go do a link to it. No, I don't care. I'm just using it as a good example. Okay, let's see here. That's it for that one. Let me pop down a couple other ones here. Answered that one.
There you go, Jason.
What's this?
Why doesn't Google allow reviews for schools? Well, most schools don't need reviews because of the fact that you're going to be assigned the school that you're going to be able to go to. There's other resources that people can go and look at when they're looking at schools, for like the school ratings, from a 0 to 10 scale. So when we were trying to find schools for our daughters, we were looking at 8, 9, and 10s. But there was a whole issue where people were posting inappropriate reviews and a bunch of photos for their schools. It was predominantly a lot of junior hires, but BuzzFeed picked up on it. And so because there was so much abuse for schools, Google kind of had to go, all right, well, the only way we can stop spam is just to turn off that spigot for reviews. So there are actual cases. Listen to this. There are cases when reviews can actually be shut off by Google. Doesn't mean just because you're not happy with your reviews, you can turn them off, but there are certain cases where it can happen, like the red hand protocol.
Yeah, especially when you start dealing with COPPA regulations, the Children's Online Protection and Privacy Act.
Yeah. I mean, basically what Jason's talking about is what's called a spam firewall, and where a business can have their reviews locked down, and what Jason's talking about is a red hand protocol, which was where this kind of all started. And when what was it, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I think was in there, and she said something, and it doesn't matter.
She got kicked out. She just got kicked out because.
Yep, exactly. And it doesn't matter what your political beliefs were, but the red hen was getting hit with tons of negative reviews. Yes. And so, immediately we brought that to Google's attention. They locked it down and they stopped any review activity. And Jason and I and the other PEs, whenever we see something like this happen, it doesn't matter what we believe in, but I mean, it's not right to get a review bomb for something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I will share one thing though, Jason, for schools, public schools, maybe private schools, reviews are still allowed.
Private is different than a public school, but public schools, you don't have any control really where you send your kids because it's predetermined by your school district and where you live. So that's why.
Right. So it's not a choice issue. You're a districted issue. Therefore, the reviews aren't necessarily as valid because you got no choice anyway.
Right.
I don't know that I necessarily agree with that decision, but it is the way it is.
Well, it's Google. It's Google.
There you go. Yeah, they can do what they want. Anyway, I just want to share that for anyone out there, the rules for private schools do not always apply to the same thing as the rules for public schools.
Just out of curiosity, Eric, why don't you look up your local high school?
Sure. Let's just do Windsor High School.
And there you go. No reviews.
18 reviews.
Oh, 18 reviews. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But there were
4 years ago. That's why I swear by the newest.
Yeah. These are like several years ago. These all were. So maybe they just haven't removed the old ones. They're just not letting them do new ones.
Correct.
Write a review.
They're not.
I can write a review.
You might, but it might not show up.
Might not show up. Okay. Anyway, when what you're talking about, things like Great Schools or Public School Review, those are the other sites where you can actually find those. And it's interesting, though, that Google's surfacing those, but won't let you do your own reviews on here. So
that's kind of interesting. I mean, actually, it would be, you got Trisha saying she could leave her reviews. It'd be kind of interesting just to leave a quick review and see if it sticks.
I will hear in a little bit. I'm not going to do it right now, though, but I might do it later.
Right. Okay.
All right, I want you to get to a couple more questions here. We're getting a little short on time. I realize we got a lot of time here, but we'll go down through here. Here's a good one from Dynasty. I've seen some people spam fight by leaving negative reviews on the bad listings with evidence attached and uploaded. These stick even if the listing is reinstated. Any thoughts on this tactic?
Don't do it. You're opening yourself up to be attacked by the spammers. And if you inadvertently leave a negative review for a legitimate listing and they're able to show that they are a legitimate listing, then they could sue you for defamation. And yeah, you don't want to do it. Don't do it. Just if you're going to spam fight, suggest an edit or redressal, but don't leave negative reviews. Don't upload photos because then they'll know who you are. And then you'll have a whole bunch of bad people coming after you.
Just do it the right way.
Your IP, you're leaving tracks all over the place. So even if you used a sock puppet account, it's still going to come back to you and you will get sued.
Just do it the right way. Report the bad listing, get it removed. Just do it the right way. Don't. That's kind of got to get into the vigilante kind of approach, and that's going to mess you up, I think.
Plus, there's a new thing that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks where a listing is getting taken down, but the reviews are still staying up there. So when you click on that CID and there's no listing there, you can actually see the reviews that were left there. So they're not disappearing into the ether like they're supposed to.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, when something gets suspended, I mean, the reviews, basically the way it works with GMB is that reviews are separate feature of the listing, which is why that can actually occur. They just get detached from the listing.
Great quick question from Facebook. Is there some issue with Google My Business where logos and covers are being removed?
So this is the 85% error. Everybody, you will be suffering with this through the end of the year, probably. Mm-hmm. So this is a front end issue. This is only a front end issue, which means that you will just see the error. Okay. When you actually go look at your profile, and I'm putting emphasis on this, like go look at it before you go freaking out. Go look at yourself.
The actual GMB listing.
Yes, you will see that on mobile and on desktop, the logo is there. The cover photo is there. The sky is not falling. So if you go into your mobile app, which a lot of people do, you might see the cover photo missing and you might see the logo is not there. But if you switch out to maps, it is there. So this is, again, a front end issue that's not affecting your performance. And the official line from Google is, don't worry about it. It'll be fixed by the end of the year. It's like a priority 5.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's a low priority because it's not actually breaking anything on the actual end customer view.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
All right. I think we have time for one more question. Let me pick this out here. I like this one. What are you guys' thoughts on adding UTM tracking on other citations like Bing Places, Apple Maps, etc.? So let me just clarify this for people who may not know what UTM tracking is. When you link to a website in Google Analytics, you can see where that traffic's coming from. You can't always necessarily tell exactly where that's coming in, so you can actually specify things called UTM parameters on the end of a URL. So if I'm linking to that Mike and Grilly site, mip4u.com, I could do, you could put parameters at the end of that would tell Google Analytics where that's coming from. It's usually considered to be a best practice in Google My Business to append the UTM parameters. So you can I clearly identify traffic coming to your website from Google My Business, and you can look at it in Google Analytics. What about doing that for Apple listings or Bing listings or maybe even other citations? What do you guys think?
Always. Facebook adds their own UTM on there for you. So as soon as somebody comes to your website from Facebook, there's a UTM tracker already installed. But yeah, I mean, we're marketers. The more data is better data. So the more we can show value or track where people are coming from, do it. Do it 9 ways from Sunday. It's easy to do. Do it.
Yeah, I will say this is that, I mean, while Google Analytics will track the refer, it's not 100% of the time. So for that percentage, when it doesn't work, it's going to go into not provided, right? Or direct at the worst case scenario.
Yeah, we're still going to direct.
Yeah. So by having a UTM set up, you're at least able to capture that information, and then you're able to slice and dice your data and see where conversions are actually coming from. So would I put it on Joe Bob's, appliance directory for Denver? No. For Yelp or Facebook or Bing or things like that, absolutely. How you doing, No Signal?
What the heck?
Your virtual camera probably messed up.
That was weird. I don't know why my video just cut out, but there you go. My video just cut out for a second.
There you go. Now you're back.
No idea why, but oh well.
It's that fancy dancy camera you got there.
It is. I actually did. I broke down. For those who don't know, I finally broke down because I do all these webinars all the time. I got a Sony A6100 mirrorless camera. No, it wasn't a Wi-Fi issue, Paul. For some reason, my Sony just decided to turn off. I have to go check the settings on it. Anyway, getting back to the UTM issues, bottom line, the follow-up question was, that won't hurt my ranking, will it? Because the URL is actually different in all these different citations.
No, it's not going to hurt at all.
No, won't affect it at all. So, guys, that's it. That's all we have time we have for today. Tons of questions on here. We know, and we're going to take notes of all these. We'll try to get to as many of them can even next week. So join us again. We do this every Friday. Occasionally we take a week off, like last week, but we usually do them every Friday. Join us again there. We look forward to seeing you. Ben, J-Lo, or J-Bro. Thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Let's call him J-Lo.
You are all about Jen today.
You're either Jen or J-Lo or J-Bro. I can't get it right now.
Yeah, right. I mean, are you going to call your wife Jen too? Or your kids?
We know next Friday, we know what the name's going to be.
I got a story sometime I will tell you about a very embarrassing situation when we were first married where I actually blanked out on my wife's name at a party.
No.
Oh my Lord. I'd been married for 26 years and still haven't heard the end of that one.
I was going to say, how did that even get to? Oh man. No, she.
All right. Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful week. We'll catch you guys next week.
All right.
Bye, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.